What's going on, everyone? Welcome to week one, finally in the books. Quite a bit to talk about, but I will condense it. Uh, this week, I learned a lot about myself. I struggled a bit with eating, but I would say I was greater than 70% on the path, which is a massive improvement because normally I would just eat whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And this week we actually, I say we because my wife was a big part of it. Uh, we started meal prepping, experimenting with that, and that really helped. Uh, so let me touch on what we actually did this week. My workouts were consistent. I'm grateful for that. My workouts stayed on par for every day. And I did take one recovery day, but it was an active recovery day, which all I did was really get into some mobility and a stretch routine that I used to do a while back. And that really helped because I haven't worked out in a long time, and getting back into it, like my body started feeling it. And at 49, I don't recover like I used to. And I'm not trying to, but I'm trying to discover where I'm at, how much lead time do I need, how much time I need to recover, how much of a workout I can do without beating my body down, because since it's going to take me longer to recover, my concern is that it'll affect my work. And, running a cleaning business, it's a lot of work because my wife and I, we're the ones that are in it. So we do have a physical job, a laborious job, but I tell you what, her and I, we make a great team and we have a great time. But as far as the workouts, I wanted to remain consistent. That was a big goal of mine. Also, my eating. I wanted to not eat out. That was my goal, to start this hyper carnivore way of eating, which I'm just now learning. I'm no expert in it by far. But as I'm learning, I want to start implementing. So for as far as the meal preps, and then we'll get into my failures of eating and then into the workouts and kind of summarize the week. As far as the meal preps, we did ground beef with, we started with ground beef, onions and mushrooms, kind of sauteed the veggies, cooked the ground beef and put it all together. And with a little bit of garlic and salt. And that was delicious. We did that for 2 days, for one of the meals for 2 days. And I portioned it out to be 8 ounces per container. So my wife, she started fasting, which she's done great at it before. I've always struggled with fasting. And I tried it, but I found myself hungry midday. And that's when, like, mentally I would start to struggle, like, when's my next meal? And, what am I going to eat? I'm hungry now. So I'm, downing water and some electrolytes trying to help out. But I think it was too soon, or too much too soon. So towards the end of the week, I throttled back on the fasting because at the beginning of the week, I would skip breakfast and we were just eating the one meal a day. And, it was all fun and games the beginning of the week. First day, it was hard for me. I jacked it up and I went off the rails and I ate out. I forgot what I ate, but I think it's in one of the reels. At any rate, I did eat out for dinner because we didn't have anything at the house. Then we started the meal prep, and day 2, I had ground beef for breakfast, and then that held me over kind of, talking about 7:30 in the morning. And that held me over till about 1:32, 2:30. I started getting a headache. 3 o'clock, 4 came. We were home before 5. Good. I had the ground beef again. However, less than 3 hours later, I was feeling hungry again, which was, I didn't know how to process that, to tell you the truth, because I had just eaten and it was a good portion. I had a pound of ground beef almost. So it's not like I was not eating enough, or I thought. And, you know, ate out again, went and picked something up. And I think it was Chinese that time. I don't remember the sequence, but I remember eating out 3 times this week. So that was the second time. Uh, then got back on it. We bought some steaks, bought some chuck roast, and started eating that. Prepped it. The steaks were prepped, which was great. I was able to eat it, and that helped me over a lot better, I think, just because the more fat content in it. So went and bought some pork belly, and I have a Ninja Foodie that I cook all like 95% of the meals in, and that was delicious. So had the steaks, I had the pork belly. So I tried the pork belly for breakfast. It was delicious. The fat really helped me out. Lasted all day. Came home, had the steak. Cool. Win. The following day did the same thing. Win. Weekend came. Fabulous. Didn't eat out because we meal prepped. So now I'm thinking, oh, we're getting into the hang of this. That's great. So got the meal prep in and lasted the weekend. Awesome. Worked out. Awesome. So, I'm flying kind of high. And come this morning, I weighed myself and I gained 4 pounds. So I went from 315 to 319. It was almost exactly 4 pounds. And I started scratching my head. I ain't gonna front, I felt a little defeated, but I started scratching my head as to like, why? The beginning of the week, I was eating out. Okay, I get it. No big deal. But the rest of the week, I did pretty good. Workouts have been consistent. And, I have metabolic syndrome, so I did a little research on that. And I'm like, I'm not spiking my insulin with the foods because I'm not having any processed carbs, pasta, rice, none of that. I did at the beginning of the week. So I'm like, did that shut it down? And I'm like, but I've been working out. So I don't know. I was expecting a little bit of a loss, not a huge loss, obviously, but I wanted to see the scale move the other direction. So that didn't happen. So I went from 315 to 319. And throughout the day, that kept weighing on me. And hit me like a ton of bricks. My coffee. I've been putting creamer. So it has sugar. There's a sweetener. And that's probably what stalled me, because it would spike my insulin whenever I had coffee. And I have coffee multiple times a day. So with that knowledge, I'm going to take it into this next week and hopefully come out on top and get rid of it. Eventually, I want to stop drinking coffee. But I've been doing a little bit of research. I'm not going to get into it this video. This video is more like a recap of my first week on this journey. And overall, I consider it more of a success than a failure. Although the failures that I've had have taught me something. So you can learn from your failures. And let's be honest, you're going to fail. You're going to fall off the rails. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to reach for that cookie or that M&M or that ho-ho cake, whatever it is, your weakness is going to happen. So my advice to you is to, take it on the chin, because you did fail, acknowledge it, and get right back on track. The getting after it every day, even if you fail or falter, you get right back on track with your next meal, with your next workout. It's going to do more for your mental stability and state of mind in the pursuit of this goal of weight loss than not. So the benefit of failing is because it's going to help you build mental toughness, because you're not just going to crumble and be like, it's like me. Let's say it was last week, Tuesday, and I ate out and I'm like, I'm going to call this whole week a wash, and then I'll start back up on Monday. That makes zero sense, because although I gained weight, I got in a full week of workouts. which otherwise I wouldn't have if I would have just hung it up and I said I'll start again on Monday. So my advice to you is, when you fail, which you are, acknowledge it, answer yourself candidly why you failed, right? Mine was poor meal prep or desperation from fasting too long, which I thought none of this was going to kill me. Let's be honest. But in my mind, I was like, man, I have to eat. And man, I don't have food ready at home. Oh man, I don't want to cook when I get to the house. I'm tired. I'm whatever, insert excuse here. But the reality is, I wasn't going to die. I wasn't going to starve. Believe me, I got enough reserves in me. It'll probably last me 18 months. But jokingly, I say that, but all jokes aside, men, you have to look after yourself. So build that mental fortitude from consistent behavior, right? It's been said before that the reason why you don't have any mental toughness, or you're not decisive, or, you don't have that, I want to say this kindly, but, you don't have that self-trust or confidence in yourself, is because you keep breaking these promises that you make yourself. And it could be as simple as setting the alarm and not getting up, waking up and you're saying, okay, I'm going to make my bed, and not making it. Or you're going to get up and say, I'm going to take a cold shower, and you don't do it. Or you're going to go for a walk first thing in the morning, and the covers kind of hug you and keep you in the bed. These are all excuses we tell ourselves, but we're programming ourselves to not trust what we say to ourselves. And that is a downhill spiral that will cavitate any progress that you'll ever make. So if you tell yourself, okay, tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up at 6, 7, 5, 4, whatever time, get up. Just get out of bed, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, wash your face. By that time, you'll be feeling awake. And that takes, 2-3 minutes? And that's it. Go on with your day. I don't care if after that, you're like, all right, now I'm going to sit down and listen to an audiobook while I sip my coffee, whatever. But you're up. That promise you kept to yourself. On the flip side, if you say, I'm going to get up at 6, and you didn't go to bed till 2 in the morning, it is going to be extremely difficult for you to get up at 6. So you're more inclined to not get up. That's a loss. You're going to take that, and your confidence is going to be affected because you just lied to yourself. You didn't keep that promise. So 3 things I can give you from my week that I've learned is quiet the desperation in your mind, right? Mine was, I haven't eaten, the day's going on. I don't have food ready at the house. I need to go out and get something to eat. Quiet that desperation, whatever it may be. Secondly, keep your promises, the promises that you make to yourself. If you're gonna get up at a certain time, get up at a certain time. Go to bed so you can sleep enough to get up at that time. Binge watching whatever streaming service you want till 11, midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. For what? That's not gonna help you in any way. At least getting up early. So, and thirdly, consistency. When you fall off, which you will, stay on the path. Jump right back in. You've been working out. You've been eating well. It's been 5 days that you haven't cheated on your diet, right? Because you're meal prepping, or, your timed meals are on point so that you're less inclined to go through a drive-thru and pick up some fast food. Then you go to your aunt's or uncle's or cousin's house, and they have some flan, or they have, whatever deliciousness, sweet pastry is by, or this also happened to me early in the week. I forgot where I was at. But anywho, I was given a spoonful. Taste this. Nope. Without even thinking about it. But if that happens, stay consistent with your workouts. So those three things, get a hold of them, start controlling what you can't control, and your success in your goal of weight loss is almost guaranteed, because eventually your workouts will become second nature. You'll start missing the gym. You'll start missing doing your workout. As you're doing your workouts, you're going to start believing that, hey, I can't put this junk in my body if I want to produce a jacked and juicy version of myself. So it's like a sports car. If you get a Lambo or a BMW M3, you're not going to go put regular unleaded gas in that thing. You're going to put premium. You're going to take care of it. You're going to make sure everything's running optimally. Your body is a great machine. If you take care of it, it will produce. If you don't know how to take care of it, just like everything else, there is a manual. There are resources that you can learn on how to take care of your body and maintain it at its optimal level. But it's going to be hard work, and it's going to take time. So if you're one of these jokers that are used to, instant gratification, weight loss is not that. I'm not on any GLP. Sure, might help, maybe. I was prescribed early last year, a GLP for my diabetes. Man, I tried that thing and it jacked me up, like the third dose. And I said, no mas. I chucked it. I said, I'm not using that nonsense. Headaches, like I felt nauseous, and I was on a low dose, but I couldn't do it, which I'm grateful for, because that's not going to fix what's up here. I need to learn how to eat well. I need to learn how to take care of this machine better. And that's why I'm, cataloging this process, because as I'm learning, I know a lot of you struggle with the same thing. So this is me speaking to you, and to have a reference work for myself to go back to in case I start slipping. Hey, we can do this, but you have to set your mind to putting in the work. So I spoke a lot about accountability early in the week. That's important, man. Stay accountable, stay consistent, chase after your goal with intent, and you will produce a successful outcome.